So thank you for joining me today and taking the time to answer a few of my questions. Let's begin with a brief introduction of yourself, your role, and about your company.
Sure. It's great to be with you, Brian. I'm Sandeep Singh. I'm the CEO of Western Copper and Gold. It's a large copper gold project in the Yukon, Canada. I took over that role 6 months ago, nearly 7 months ago, after a 20-year stint in mining. That's been my entire adult career, and was very enthused about what I saw there as a project that is globally significant, and it kind of found its momentum, and happy to be kind of pushing it through the next phase.
As a participant in the Nordic Funds Mines conference, what are your key objectives for attending, and how do you hope this event will contribute to your company's goals in the current mining landscape?
So my first time here in Stockholm. I think this is the first conference, so it's everyone's first time. I've been quite pleased. Didn't know what to expect. There's obviously always a lot of conferences you can go to, but this has been a good day for us. Hopefully, based on the schedule, it looks like a really good day tomorrow. We've had some excellent meetings already. For us, we're in kind of the market awareness phase of our company. There's still a lot of people we want to go and tell this story to, and the more people we do, the more it tends to resonate. So any chance we can tell the story to credible mining investors or potential investors, it's a good thing, and been pleased with how the story has resonated so far.
In light of recent geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions, how is your company working to ensure, now or in the future, resource security and maintain its competitive advantage in the global market?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. I mean, we've got this very large critical minerals project in Canada. The world needs more copper. The world needs all the viable projects it has today. It needs to find more. To have our project be in Canada in a safe jurisdiction, in a stable jurisdiction, is a huge leg up. We've seen, sadly, every year it seems another country gets crossed off the list in terms of where you can build these types of projects, where you can justify the investment decision. And when you're talking about these big porphyries, it is big investment. It's big investment, it's big capex, it's long life, it's decades, it's generations. So to have the stability that a jurisdiction like Canada provides is definitely a massive advantage for us, and I think that's going to continue to play in our favor for a long time.
With the growing focus on ESG in the mining industry, how are you leveraging this conference to showcase your company's initiatives to the Nordic investment community, known for a strong emphasis on responsible investing?
Well, I think kind of further what I just said, the fact where we are where we are, there's inherent protection. I mean, there's only one way to do things in Canada, which is the right way, both environmentally and socially. We've been in the Yukon, well, it's not myself, but our team has been in the Yukon for a better part of 2 decades. We are led by Yukoners in the territory. Our head of sustainability runs into everyone at the grocery store and at kids' school, so we're kind of embedded into the community there. So we share the same values as our affected First Nations do, and as our affected Yukoners do. So try to conduct ourselves the right way from the beginning. It's what you've seen from Western Copper for a long time, and that's not changing. So it is bigger part of the mining industry. It's necessary from every perspective. It's the right thing to do. It's the right way to conduct yourself, but it's also the right way to build a business.
As a company focused on developing the casino project in Yukon, as you just mentioned, how do you see Western Copper and Gold's role in meeting the growing demand for copper and gold in the context of the global energy transition?
Look, it's going to be a problem. The world needs an awful lot of copper. It's hard to see where that copper is going to come from. If you look at the last several years, when there was the last move in copper, say to $5, there was actually a pretty good supply response from the sector. There were things that came on to meet that demand. Right now, if you forecast to the end of this decade, it's very hard to see when there's that next move in terms of demand, where the supply is going to come from. And the demand is multifold. I mean, it's still, it's electric vehicles, albeit slower. It's AI and it's data storage, which I think people underestimate how much copper and electricity and then copper that's going to take. But just normal infrastructure growth. I mean, I think we don't have to have full reliance on China to believe in the copper story. There's a massive amount of reinvestment that's required in Western jurisdictions. There's a massive amount of electrification that's required going forward. There's a continent in India that seems like it's going to have the next 30 years, like China did the last 30 years. So you don't need to believe in all or any, you know, all those theses, but even a fraction of them, and it leads you to realize that there's an awful lot of demand for copper coming, and the supply side continues to be very, very tight. So we're fortunate that we have the project that we've kind of slowly been bringing to market here in the Yukon for a long time. Feel like we found our momentum. There's a tailwind for us, not just globally, but also in Canada for critical minerals. So it's actually quite fortunate that we've had this project that we were working on for some time, and now it's getting the traction that it I would argue deserves in the market we're in.
With the Rio Tinto as a significant shareholder, how does this strategic investment influence your development plans for the casino project? And what potential synergies do you see in this relationship?
Yeah, so Rio Tinto, who you referenced, own just about 9.7% of the company. They've invested in us 5 separate times dating back to 2021, so just shy of $40 million. They're one strategic investor on our shareholder base. Mitsubishi Materials would be the other. They own 4% of the company. Both have been fantastic partners. Very supportive. They did, I would argue, a tremendous amount of diligence before their investment and continue to do that diligence as they're on our technical and sustainability committee. So they lend us, and we have access to the best minds in the copper business, and we've definitely benefited from that. So relationship is good. They clearly have their own objectives, and you can surmise what that is. Mitsubishi wants offtake. Rio Tinto wants copper mines. They need copper growth maybe more than most in the diversified space. You know, when and how and if that translates into a transaction, you know, time will tell. All I tell folks is 2 things. One is it's tremendously important that those 2 names have shown the level of interest they have in our company, full stop. And 2, we are not the builders of this mine. And that should be obvious to anybody that looks at us and looks at the mine. It's too big for us. It deserves to be in the hands of a major or a couple major companies. Our job, our standalone plan is to de-risk it. There's an awful lot of value to create, and we're funded to do that with a very strong treasury. An awful lot of value to create through permitting and de-risking. How that story ends, I'm not going to forecast, but it's just a good place to be where we've had that level of endorsement and positive support from some of the better names in the sector.
Given the casino project's location in Yukon and its potential impact on local communities, especially First Nation peoples, how is Western Copper and Gold approaching stakeholder engagement and responsible development?
Look, that's the crux of what we're doing now. You know, we don't have a project unless we can garner the support and endorsement of the Yukon, the government, the First Nations in particular. The First Nations we affect primarily Selkirk. We're on their traditional territory. I would say we have a very good relationship. We're talking weekly. We're talking all the time. As I said, our team of Yukon-based folks, they're living that as we speak. I would say there's a great deal of appreciation for the fact that the world, Canada, needs critical minerals. If this was just a gold project, not to say that it wouldn't get permitted, I think there'd be perhaps more bumps and bruises along the way. But the tailwind for critical minerals is high, both, you know, federally, territorially, and I think even our partners in the Yukon understand it. So we continue to liaise with them all the time. It's a good working relationship. The next year is going to be important for us as we're submitting our environmental assessment in the summer of 2025. So between here and there, it's an awful lot of engagement to explain to them what the project is, and that's what the ask has been. You know, the ask has been, walk us through in detail, in excruciating detail, you know, what is this project, what are the impacts, and then when we get past that hurdle, then we'll start talking about the benefits, because the benefits are many, but the dialogue is good and it's honest, and I hope it continues that way.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to answer a few of our questions. Much appreciated, and it was wonderful to learn more about your company and your operations, and I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thanks.